beauty for you all is that you already have a Tyler. And so as your challenge, which is an amazing challenge, and I won't spoil it for your listeners, but when they see it, it'll start to get advertised here in the next 2 weeks. Kids are going to flock to it. And when they take to it and they solve it, the ability for them then to meet a Tyler on the other end, Tyler will be your number one recruiter to find more Tylers. And young people want to talk to Tyler more than to you or me. Right. So that ability to have that conversation and to say, for Tyler to say, hey, listen, if you want to be a business owner, if you want to be a young entrepreneur, if you want to eventually buy someone's business, you want to create, at some point, you're going to have to know the guts behind how to run a business, right? From the accounting side, let me help you with that in short bits. I think you're going to have a massive funnel of young people that go, I have a great idea.
Hi, everybody. This is Kyle Kinsler, and welcome to the Kinsler Brown podcast, and which is called the KB article. We have with us today Tyler, Robert, and Todd Smith. So and did you put that together? And we're here in Omaha. It's Todd and Tyler. Did you guys realize? Did you guys realize that? But there's actually a different Todd and Tyler in Omaha that we've been listening to on the radio for about 25, 30 years, but I put that together the other day. Is it really? But anyways, hey, and what we were trying to do here with part of the KB article and with the Kinsler Brown is that we want to enhance growth and financial well-being of our staff, our clients, organizations. And if we hope that we have something that can provide you with value here today. And I think we have a couple of real special people here with us. We've been talking about this for a long time. We're really very excited. I know Tyler, he's part of our team, and I'll go ahead and just kind of introduce you, but just kind of get overhead here too, is that we have a very unique relationship on how we work together and how this is all coming to fruition. And Tyler, he is basically our workhorse within the Kinsler Brown organization, or a big part of our office operations, and he's getting trained up into leadership positions and such. And then we have Todd Smith here. He's with the Symphony Workforce, and we've got some exciting news for everybody today. So hang tight. I know we're going to have a lot of fun here today. There's a lot of information out here, but that's great. So I'll have you just go ahead and introduce yourselves. Let's go. Tyler, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
All right. So my name is Tyler Robert. I am a college student at the University of Nebraska, Omaha. And as Kyle mentioned, I am part of the Kinsler Brown Company umbrella. Kind of wear all kinds of hats for them, do all kinds of jobs. Primarily with the podcast, I've been on the back end of things, kind of making sure it gets distributed, making sure that it gets edited properly. And this is my first appearance on the podcast as an actual person on it. So I'm very excited that you guys get to finally see kind of the guy behind the camera, so to speak.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much me.
That's cool. So Chad Brown, our business partner, he's on vacation this week. So I says we're going to carry on the show without you. So we brought in Tyler here. Says Tyler, so we can do this. I mean, we'll be fine. So let's do what we've been talking about with Todd. There, it'd be a perfect time to get that done. So that's fantastic. Todd, how about yourself?
Todd Smith. I'm the CEO of Symphony Workforce. We are a workforce developmental company. We are workforce exploration. We are the meeting between industry looking for the new generation of workforce, sub 25 years old, and the solution for young people to explore multiple industries, multiple companies through their thumbs, right? Through this crazy thing that they never have out of their hand. So they can figure out sooner than later, starting as early as 7th grade, up through, call it 25. Where do I want to go? How do I want to get there? How do I get recruited for a career the same way that high school athletes get recruited into college sports, right? How do I get those offers? How do I get free zero debt post-secondary? How do I get recruited into construction, into 100K jobs? How do I get recruited into engineering and so forth? And so we developed a platform called Find the Why, and I know we'll talk about that today. Tyler is actually one of our, I would say, top 3 participants of all time on our platform. And so Tyler holds a dear spot in my heart.
That's fantastic. And I love it because you're filling in that gap that, and my own children, and I have a son, he's 18 years old right now. And gosh, and as the father, when they're getting 15, 16 years old and you're asking the kids, what are you going to do? Or they don't know. They don't, and it's hard and it's frustrating as a parent, but you give a vehicle. And I think maybe that's kind of part of that's why you had that light kind of go on and say, there's this need right here. So tell us a little bit about that journey there, Todd. And then Tyler, if you want to kind of jump in there too, and just kind of, when did this start for you? And you must have been 16, 17 years old when this started for you as well, Tyler, but we'll give maybe a little bit more of a description there from Todd and kind of how this all worked. Tell us about how we all started there.
Absolutely. So I grew up in St. Paul, Minnesota. My mom worked her way to being a superintendent of schools. Her first superintendent's role was in Beloit, Wisconsin. My dad helped run mental health for Ramsey County. And so I came out of this world where the only thing that wasn't on the table for debate and options was effort, right? And being innovative. And so that's what I knew as a kid. And I was very fortunate to have a ton of great mentors come into my life. And so I knew that 2 things were important: effort, proper mentors. And then as I got into college and got to life and met enough people, I realized that access was the other thing, the third leg of the stool. And so I grew up professionally in tech and ran large teams and went over into global education, and then went out into consulting, my own consulting company, and knew that I had to solve the problem of access for kids, no matter if they were rural, where they were urban, whether whatever they were, where they were, but ever who they were, and then have them talk directly to industry. Kyle, industry speaks one language, education speaks a different language. And
we just talked about that,
right? And then Tyler knows youth speak a whole different language.
He's getting it all thrown at him. Like, I don't know what to believe, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we developed this platform, and fortunately we met Tyler when Tyler was real young, and he was the first person on our platform, Find the Why, to say, hey, I get the premise. The premise is we don't ask kids, this is to your point about your son, Kyle. We don't ask kids, hey, where do you want to work? Because they have no concept. We don't ask kids, what do you want to do? They have no concept. But we do ask, here are problems. What kind of problems do you like to solve? And those problems are submitted by actual industry. Tyler was the very first partner or participant we had who ever said, hey, can I select 3 problems, 4 problems all at once? We were like, sure, we think so. And Tyler became that star very quickly. He can give you some additional background from the young person's perspective in terms of how that formulated who he's become through the process.
Right.
So when you're talking about the problems there, and kind of what is it so a student, they go out and they look at your particular platform and they identify businesses, they go out there and they submit issues or say, hey, and like the one that we kind of come back to was the combine hopper type of thing. Mm-hmm. So they had to figure out how to do things better. And it wasn't a bunch of scientists that sat in the back room making $100,000 a year, figuring out how to do things. These were sometimes you almost know too much to where you kind of become fixated where you can't, get outside of that. As where if you take that young person's, that young people, like if you're going to perform hits, it's like in the first 10 years of your career, if you're a singing or a star or a rock star or whatever it is, and then that imagination just kind of goes by the wayside. Is where when you're young, that's where your imagination is peak, so they're learning in that learning mode, and so they think outside of the box. So kind of go a little bit more. What are those problems? What do they look like? What do you show? What that?
So here are three great examples. So, and Tyler will remember two of these very clearly. So a wider range of companies come in because everyone's trying to solve a workforce crisis. And we only allow real problems that are sitting right now on their table to come to us. So companies such as Chick-fil-A came to us and said, hey, we have a problem with our styrofoam cups. And so there's regulations that are going to penalize us. Hey, we want young people to figure out a new cup. Now we're talking big engineering, big science, and a new marketing plan. And kids came from 41 states to go, oh, I'll solve that problem. I know Chick-fil-A, but I didn't know they did this kind of work.
Right.
And they solved it. The combine that you mentioned, that's Case New Holland. That's a company that ships combines to 5 different continents. They said, hey, we have a shipping problem, a P&L problem, right? That our shipping costs are going high. So I think what we'll do is we want kids to try to take out 10% of the weight of our combine. So now we have big engineering, big design. And so kids are coming in to say, I want to solve that problem. In doing so, oh, engineering may be my path. Or, hey, mechanics may be my path. Science may be my path. All these, or trades. And so once they figure that out, all the data that we collect on the back end, businesses like yourself, Kyle, then can sort through that, almost like online dating, and say, hey, 5,000 kids took my challenge, picked my problem to try to solve. And of that, the data that the students give us, there's 82 that are perfect for me to recruit. And so now they recruit those kids once again, just like they're high school athletes, to become part of their organization. And it's been wonderful.
Is that how you envision it, or is that something that kind of fabricated? Is that just kind of drew its own path type of thing, or is that kind of
we were very intentional about getting kids from no matter where they were to get exposed to as many different problems / companies / industries to figure out what they wanted to do in short bits of time. So they only have 7 days to solve a problem. So they can say, yes, I liked it. No, I didn't like it. Hey, I would like to live here. Here's my pathway after high school, whether it be go to military, go right to work, go to 2-year, 4-year. There's all these things that they can discover that you would hope that's happening at a kitchen table. But I don't even talk about those things with my own kid at that length, at that depth, right?
Did that kind of help you, Tyler, become, I guess I hadn't asked you before, but that have any influence of you coming to work for Kinsler Brown?
Yeah.
You know what you did or did not want to do based upon that, and then you found us to kind of say, hey, this is the kind of company I want to work for.
So for me, I think it started, as we said, it started for me when I was in high school. I was very angry in high school about having to work at, I was working at China Buffet. I hated it. I felt like my talent was being wasted. I remember how many times I would text Todd and I'd be like, dude, I need to get out of here because I'm so bored. I'm so bored. Like, and
you're not bored anymore, are you?
No. But where the connection is, I had that ambition where I said, I want to be more than, McDonald's. I want to be more than those kind of jobs. Because I know that I can be. I have so much passion and drive for it. So when Todd came into my accounting class when I was 16 years old and started talking about, hey, we're going to bring these challenges in front of you from companies, and they're going to look at you and they're going to see value in what you're putting out, right? Because before, I'm just a 16-year-old kid from Bellevue, Nebraska. I'm nobody.
But you started salivating. I can see you. That would be you. That would be like, give me that. I want some of that. Right.
And what sold the dream for me was Todd said, fail forward. Because, we could throw a horrible idea out there and it could be totally undeveloped and we could lose that competition. And it's happened very few times, but I have lost a few of them.
Oh, you never told me about those.
Right. So it happens, but every time that we fail, right, we don't have to let that hold us down. That's a
Right.
stepping stone towards a bigger goal. So like when I came out of high school, I was like, you know what? I did so good in engineering. Hawkins was salivating over me from me doing their first challenge that they put out. And so I actually went and got an internship with them. And then I got a second internship with an engineering company. And I was pursuing it. And then I realized I have no time. Like I literally have no time for anything, because when you go into engineering, you are dedicating your life to that.
Right.
And it didn't feel right to me. So then I decided, you know what, I'm going to switch majors. Lost both internships. So now I have no job. I go to the UNO career fair and I'm already knowing, there's going to be Charles Schwab. There's going to be those big guys there, but they're not looking at me because I just transferred majors. I'm not even on their radar right now. They give me a business card and they tell me, you know what, send us an email. We'll follow up with you in 2 years when you're actually in the advanced classes. Cool. So then I decide, you know what, who's the guy in the back corner of the room? No, seriously, because you know what, those are the guys who need what I can offer. They want it and they're after it. They might not know that they're after it when they're there, but I know that they're after it because they're getting swallowed up by Charles Schwab.
Right.
So that's where I went and I met Kyle at the UNO career fair because he's kind of like, that smaller table, not well known. I had no clue who Kinsler Brown was when I went over there. But now it's like, imagine if every kid knew who Kinsler Brown was, even though they're the back corner of the room, right? Imagine if we could identify, the 1,000 kids at UNO that want to be part of a culture where we have a win the day attitude every day, because that's the Kinsler Brown way, right? Imagine if we could identify 1,000 kids who wanted to be part of a small business and wanted that more one-on-one development so that they can go out and start a business. Because what I'm finding working for Kinsler Brown is that you get way more one-on-one time with the people who started that business when you work for a small company. Right. If you go and work for Charles Schwab and they got thousands of employees and you're the intern, nobody's looking at you.
Right.
They should be, but they're not, because the big guys are all up there and you're still down here.
Right.
Whereas here at Kinsler Brown, I work very closely with Kyle and Chad.
Yeah.
Extremely closely. In fact, I call Kyle almost every day, like
many times. Yeah. No, and it took me 10 years out of college and I worked for a major insurance company, and it took me 10 years to figure out that that's not where I wanted to be. It was, now you'll be able to identify that. And, people, they go through college for a couple, 3 years. They change what their major is going to be. And that'll still happen, type of thing. But this kind of gives them that extra little step to kind of get them going, at least going in the right direction. And that's going to save so much time and energy and money and, and everything else. And it's a better fit for the organizations that are recruiting those types of people. And also it serves as a long job application process.
Correct.
So we actually put one out there, and we've got many others. There's some other ones that we want to do and that we're building upon. Yeah, who where everybody's kind of at, and then who you want to recruit, and they have a favorable view of you, as an organization, if they're going into these types of things. And then they receive the coaching from the staff as well when they get into these particular projects, right?
Correct.
So they have access to, we have a team of 4 or 5 people that are on their executive team. So when, let's say, as a younger Tyler Robert would come into this particular program, that they would try to solve this particular problem, that they would have access. But one thing that we need to do, and I think that we do a real good job on it on our side, is that we try to be sure that people know what their expectation is. And I think, and that's So we work very, very hard in over communicating the best that we have, the best that we can. So yeah, we're going into our first one here, but we've already identified that, so we can't skip on that for sure.
I think
Yeah.
you both have summed it up really well, right? And Kyle, what you're talking about is time. It's a thing you can't waste and you can't buy back, right? So the sooner you can start to vet careers and pathways, the more time you gain back on the other end. The more time you go, oh, you know what? My pathway can take me through MCC, where I can start working for a company and go for free until I then circle back to UNO. Or my pathway is with Kinsler Brown, who can also help me go to UNO and pay for part of that. My job is, right? So the thing now that I'm so proud about, Kyle, for you and for the company, is you're part now of the largest youth workforce development project in the history of the state of Nebraska. There will be 30,000 kids from 7th grade through undergrad participating in 4 different challenges. They happen in September, November, February, and April, where businesses will put their problems on our platform. We take care of 95% of the load in the marketing, in the data analytics, and the back end, so that they can not only find their right now, hey, I want to recruit that kid out of undergrad, recruit that kid out of grad school, recruit that kid who's a senior into my role, but they also can get their brand, most importantly, in front of 7th and 8th and 9th graders, right? So they can start becoming a common name, because like Tyler mentioned, if you on our platform and you take a lot of different assessments, which is great because we're data at the end of the day, Tyler gets to know and gets to articulate to Kyle through our platform, I want to go into accounting. It's something I want to do, but I want to do it for a small company, or I want to do it for a mid-sized company, or I want to do it for a large company. You know, we don't tell them how many employees that are, because kids don't have a concept, but they know if they want small and intimate or mid-size, right? So they could be we can meet 100 of the greatest young accountants ever that were all innovative, but if they all want something different, you as a business owner only want to spend your time recruiting the ones who say they want to be in your size of company. They're looking for your kind of culture. And so that's what we offer back to industry, but more importantly, that's what we offer to the Tyler Robbins of the world, right? And that's the beauty.
Right. And we need a few more Tyler Roberts within the organization, but because I don't think he's going to let us work him 3 or 4 times as hard as we should all the time. So he'll run it. So he's doing great. So that's kind of where we're at, and kind of tell us a little bit now about. It's really, really exciting. You're talking about OPS here this morning, and kind of where you're at with OPS and then the local colleges, and kind of how is this expanding outside of the Nebraska realm of things right now, and because it's not just a Nebraska thing anymore.
Correct.
This is beyond that.
Correct.
It started here,
It started here in earnest. Call it 5 years ago. And then we started to grow rapidly to 48 other states. And then we jumped over the pond into London and UK and into India. And that was wonderful. And then at the end of, call it 16, 17 months ago, I made the conscious effort to say, hey, let's pull back our effort. Kids can still take us. Kids come on our platform for free. K-12s, they don't pay any dollars to be part of what we do. So they still all do that across the country in a globe. But we're going to focus our effort on making Nebraska amazing for young people and for industry. Right. Make that connection. And so OPS, we went through all their legal hurdles 2 years ago. We went through their pilot program last year. And this year we've been adopted across the district. So there'll be 20,000 kids going through our platform, meeting the companies in Nebraska. But we also have amazing school districts like Shadron, Nebraska, Public, Battle Creek, Gross Catholic, Westside, Bellevue, Marion, Norfolk Catholic. So it is agnostic, because the feel is kids are everywhere. Mm-hmm. And the adults around them have figured out we need to get them to introduce themselves and engage workforce in the way that they do the rest of their lives. I have a 16-year-old in my house and a 13-year-old in my house, and they have this thing with them all the time. So if you want to get them to explore and you can't get through that, it's not happening, right? And so the beauty for you all is that you already have a Tyler. And so as your challenge, which is an amazing challenge, and I won't spoil it for your listeners, but when they see it, it'll start to get advertised here in the next 2 weeks. Kids are going to flock to it. And when they take to it and they solve it, the ability for them then to meet a Tyler on the other end, Tyler will be your number one recruiter to find more Tylers. And young people will want to talk to Tyler more than to you or me. Right. So that ability to have that conversation and to say, for Tyler to say, hey, listen, if you want to be a business owner, if you want to be a young entrepreneur, if you want to eventually buy someone's business, you want to create, at some point, you're going to have to know the guts behind how to run a business, right? From the accounting side, let me help you with that in short bits. I think you're going to have a massive funnel of young people that go, I have a great idea. There's a young man goes to Creighton right now, who started a candle business in his basement 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
His first year, he made like $8,000. His second year, he made about $60,000. That kid needs to know the accounting and all the math behind his business so he can take that business and threefold it.
Right.
Where do you invest in? How do you depreciate things? How do you make your money work for you? And the minute you give that to a kid, they become owners, not only of their business, but they become owners of themselves. So now they make better decisions on their path. They make better decisions on their friends. They make better decisions on spouses. They make better decisions when you have an owner's mentality versus a, hey, I'll just kind of go with it mentality.
Right. And the word that I see that comes to mind with that is freedom.
Yes.
You've just given yourself, rather than, I think a lot of young business entrepreneurs, business owners, they get into it and they spend or whatever it is. And before they know it, they're working for their debt and how to get fixed what they wish they would have already known up front, type of thing, so. And as we were just talking before this year, it says I've written a number of business plans in the past, and the ones and I spent so much time, and I just saved, like I said, I just saved Tyler 100 hours right there when he goes to write his first business plan, because he put about 25 or 30 pages on the front end. It's all filled with fluff of how, and who your market's going to be, how you're going to market to them, this and that. But the person that's going to fund you the money, they go right to that back page of the business plan, and they're going to tell you if they're going to loan. They don't. They do care, but they don't. But they're going to go to that. But they're going to go to the back end first, and like as you're saying, Todd, work on that back end there.
Absolutely.
And then, and if you want to know about the front end, ask me questions, and we can divulge and we can have those conversations, type of thing. So, it's it's really something. So tell me, where do you see this going now? And the one thing you were talking about when the kids, when they go in that, and maybe we left that out, is when they go into these particular programs, and let's say they're trying to solve this particular issue for this company, there's prizes associated to that. Absolutely. So there's cash money on the other side. And I know Tyler, he likes money. We all do, but Tyler, he gets say, hey, you talk about cash. He's like, I'm winning that. I'm winning that, type of thing.
Tyler's made a ton of money in our competition. I would tell you we've advanced the prizes. So the funny thing is at first kids come because there's $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 up for grabs. But it's actually once they get in it and they start to see the offers in the back end, that becomes the big piece, right? So they understand that companies will go send them an offer letter that says, hey, we see you, we recognize you, you're validated, please come back to our next challenge. Or they say, hey, you were so good, we want you to come for a company visit. They can say, hey, you were amazing, we don't want to lose track of you. We want to offer you a virtual paid internship on the same platform, because you may live in Chadron or McCook or Aurora, Nebraska, and this company may be downtown Omaha, but they still want to keep hold of that talent.
Right.
They can get offered on-site internship paid, or even apprenticeships, or better yet, even jobs. And so all those offers are offered through our platform, right? So kids can stay anonymous at the individual level, but the companies see the aggregate information, right? So their ability to go, I like you, and you, and they start the recruiting process. And so it's really advanced. And I will say this other piece about Tyler. Tyler was also our first participant to understand that he was the business. It wasn't what he was creating was the business. Tyler Roberts was the business. And as soon as he started thinking of himself as a business, he invested in himself differently, right? So Tyler would call and say, hey, Todd, this particular offer I got from a company said I can only do it for them. And I'd say, no, you're the business. You tell them you get 3 hours, you get 3 hours, you get 3 hours. And he was like, really? And I said, yes, this is how you do it. And he went out and he had multiple internships going at the highest rate so that he could decide, oh, it's best for me to work with you, or maybe not at all. And I need to pivot and go a new way. And that's what we allow for kids. And it saves companies time for making bad hires or incorrect hires. Right. It allows them to stop those old horrible career fairs and squishy balls and colored pens, or going to high schools and trying to talk to Tyler in a high school where Tyler's like, who is this person? This is horrible. Right. It saves all that money. It takes away, you can move your budget internally from a company to go, this way gets me to 30,000 kids. The other way gets me to 14 kids. Right. And so that's one of the differences.
So how can we get you to the next level, Todd? And you're talking about there's other businesses that are out there. A lot of them don't know about. I mean, you've done a tremendous penetration and doing this. Now you say OPS, which is Omaha Public Schools, which is tens of thousands of students that they're just utilizing this now to help their students and help the community grow. And that's one thing I kind of like about Omaha. It's the central and it's the middle of the United States. Things are strategically put here. So maybe that's why you moved here, because everything just kind of, it's like an amoeba. It just, everything grows from here in all different directions because you can't get any further away from water, here in all the directions here. But where do you see this going, in 5-10 years, Todd?
Well, the beauty, the mission stays the same. Right. So we've articulated different, but it stays the same. And that is, we want to be the number one place in the country where kids come to find companies that they can start working for when they're juniors and seniors in high school, through a process of vetting a lot of them, that those companies will marry with them through their post-second education. So a student has zero college debt or trade school debt or whatever, fill in the blank. They're working the moment they're in high school, out of high school, 30 hours with 401ks and pensions and whatnot, real experience to match the education, to give them optimal freedom, but then also to find the right culture fits. And so if we become that, which we're on our way, we also, on the flip side of that, become the number one place where industry can go to engage a vast number of kids across the country to find the right talent for their company in their city that they can retain and promote, right? So those are the two pieces, right? And so we believe that education, K-12, will come right along with us. And it will be interesting what post-secondary does, because they have the opportunity with a little bit of innovation to come alongside us and say, okay, Tyler takes a challenge as a sophomore in high school. Tyler indicates, hey, I want to either go to work right after high school or I want to go to 2-year. That means every community college inside of an earshot should be sending Tyler opportunities, free opportunities, right? If Tyler says, hey, I want to go to 4-year for business, those top business schools should be sending Tyler through us opportunities. So everything should get smarter. We want to be that database.
Now, is that through the profile that each of the students would then create?
So when students come on our platform, they create a profile, but we now have a new function. It's a digital resume. So everything they do on our platform automatically drops into a resume. And this isn't that old relic of a resume, but my GPA was 3.2 and I worked at Dairy Queen. This is a resume that captures every challenge they've ever done, all their assessments, what their peer 360 assessment is, their DISC assessment. All this information is in one spot, so that when a business says, hey, tell me what you've done, from their phone, they can send their Find the Why resume, digital resume, to the employer, to the scholarship. We have kids that won the Regent Scholarship using our resumes. And so that piece allows the data, so the back sheet of that business proposal, the data to drive the engagement.
Oh, nice.
And that
Nice.
didn't exist before us in one place.
Okay,
No.
now that's there.
Now
That
it's
is there. And that's there for the access. So that's
Right.
tremendous. So
Yeah.
so
And real quickly, I just want to jump in here and make the point that the reason why I figured out that Kinsler Brown was such a good fit for this is because we're doing everything right. We fit the mold, you know? So what Todd was talking about, where I come in and I say, you know, I'm going to work here, here, and here, give them all their hours. That's what I'm doing, but inside one company instead of 4 companies.
right.
So now it's like, okay, I'm on the tax side, but now I'm on the marketing side too, which ironically was spawned because of a video that I made for Find the Why. Ironically, I showed it to Kyle, and they were like, "Hey, we want to make a podcast," and now here we are. Right?
You did that, man.
Yeah, it all connects. It all connects. And
I can't do that. Can you do that? So that spun off
Right.
on that. Yeah. So yeah, you can go in all over the different places. So he's holding it together very, very well.
So Kyle, I'll finish answering your question this way. So we have partners. Our client list is rich, right? So we have everything from UP, OPPD, Scholar, CNH, Hawkins Construction, all the way down to 2-man shops like Barron, which is a phenomenal real estate company that works in the downtown corridor. Dave and John are just amazing young people, big, huge brains. To Loop Hire, who's an amazing company recruiting. They do it in a new way around data. So we span the gamut. So any of these companies that are out there are saying, we have a workforce shortage. We need to get to more kids. We got to get to them in a way that means something to them. They can come to us. So they can come to www.symphonyworkforce.org, get hold of me directly. They can go to our www.findthewhy.org and get to us. But the ones who are smart and the ones who are seeing their own kids and how their own kids interact with the world, get it early. Okay, this is how I'm going to get to my next workforce, my next rock star. So it's really worked out well.
No, that's fantastic. And we're going to put on here when we're all said and done that we'll have your how to get in touch with you, with the address to how to get in touch with you, Todd. So if you're a business that would like to have your problems or want to be part of this, to have access to all these kids that want to do what it is that they're trying to do within your particular industry, and having access to that, rather than, like I said, going to those squishy ball events, man. We still do them ourselves, but you know, we have to. But I love this. I do love this. And Tyler, he kind of helps us sort through, you know, everything that we are here, and I'm just very, very excited about the relationships. But there are still schools, so and schools can use this as a roadmap themselves. So I mean, maybe you're a small. I came from a small little town of 1,200 people up in North Dakota. That maybe like schools like that, they could access this and they could have their own students from a lab or from home participate with major companies all across the United States and getting involved. And then when they get into these, they become part of teams that they may have never met these people before, but they become part of teams to solve these problems as well. And they win money doing it. And it gives them a roadmap of what they want to do. So I love what it is that you're doing.
So Kyle, and here's the other piece from an adult parent standpoint. We are not a social media platform. So there is no surfing around, there is no bullying, there is no free comment space. In order for, if we're a team, the three of us are a team, the only people that know we're on the platform are each other, and then the 3 virtual advisors that we invite. So we invite a senior executive from HDR. We invite a customer service person from OPPD, and then we invite our teacher. Just those are the only 6 people that know we're all on this platform together. Outside that, anyone else can just see our team name, and that's it. So we keep kids safe. We keep adults safe. All the adults are in background screen. So people are here to fail forward to find their career pathway,
Right.
and vice versa. So that's important.
Great. Well, do you have any? We'll go ahead and we'll wrap it up here. Let's see, have anything else that we'd like to add to that here? So, and we'll have this posted out here shortly. You have anything you want to wrap up with there, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like this is a beautiful moment for me because these are two. This is here's the roadmap which came from Todd as one of the most influential people in my life professionally. This dude is crazy. He's got so much wisdom, so much knowledge, and it's been a complete honor to be able to bring you on a podcast and be part of the podcast with you, and then to be able to connect that story with an employer who sees my value and sees what you've seen in me, and being able to fulfill something that we've talked about for years now. And this is like, I don't want this to be a once in a million thing. I am one in a million, but I'm really not, because like we were just talking about, there's thousands of other Tylers out there, and I want every Tyler to come on this platform and be able to have that experience, and then to be able to meet an employer who sees that value that they discover that they have through this platform. And I think that's the most important part of my story, as far as, with this platform and how it connects with everything. That's the most important part right there, is that anybody can be a Tyler, anybody can have this experience and get that far,
no matter where you're at.
Right.
So absolutely. All right. Well, with that there, we'll anything else that you wanted to add there, Todd, or you're all good?
Not at all. I would just say it takes we've had this happen for us out of hard work. It takes bringing on government agencies, right? So we've worked with the DED here in the state. We've worked with Douglas County. It takes amazing organizations like the Simple Foundation and others who are focused on internships. It takes amazing business leaders, which we have a litany of, and I've named some of those companies. But then it takes some K-12s that really get it. So OPS and Westside and Chadron and Battle Creek and all those schools that had the leaders to go, we have to innovate, right? And then lastly, you just have to give young people the opportunity. And once you do, their greatness is endless. And you just have to not dummy it down for them. You have to actually have high expectations, give them high hurdles, and just watch them figure out how to get over them, right? However messy it is, you got to give them time and space and a consistency to get over them. And then you get greatness. Nebraska only has 1.8 million people, something in that nature. That means every student in Nebraska has to be accounted for, nurtured, and has to thrive, and we have to retain them, or we have a bigger issue, right? And so our solution, Find the Why, helps a state do it, helps employers do it, helps kids understand why they should stay in Nebraska, right? And it marries up with the governor's #1 agenda item, which is keeping every kid here with a career in Nebraska.
Right. No, and that's terrific. And I'm very proud that Kinsler Brown could be part of this at the very, at the kind of really close to the beginning. And we got one of the very first pupils of it, of course, in Tyler. And we are excited to see this grow. I think we're going to probably be working with you very closely, hand in hand, and we'll have more talks about this as we go. We'd like to have you back regularly there, Todd, and tell us how it's going. This is very, very exciting for us and everybody that's associated to it. So with that, we'll let you go. Thanks for joining us today on the KB article. We'll see you, everybody.
Absolutely. Take care.